we are ready to start the February meeting of the Merrimack Parks and Recreation Committee. It is February 19th at the Matthew Thornton Room at 7 o'clock. And I'm opening the meeting, and thanks to those of you that are listening and those of you that have come. I'm Laura Janes. I am the chairman at this point. And to my left, I will let this gentleman introduce himself.
Jonathan Barkley with MYA.
Lon Woods, Town Council.
Matt Kasparius, Director of Parks and Recreation.
Michelle Creswell, Secretary and Member.
Shannon Barnes, School Board Liaison.
Abigail Cody, Student Representative.
Christine Lavoie, Vice Chair.
And thank you very much. Moving right along, thank you, Michelle, for doing your minutes and all that you do for us. I appreciate it. And Matt with the agenda. So if you've had a chance to look at the minutes, I will take a motion to accept the minutes as they have been. So moved. And that's a motion by Shannon. Any seconds? Lon, any discussion or changes? They look great to
I
me.
did make one change, just spelling
Awesome.
my name.
Oh,
So
there
that's
you
good.
go. Well, that counts.
And how is it spelled, John?
It's Jon.
Oh, there you go.
Michelle.
2 L's. Okay, all those in favor of the January 22nd, 2019. Oh, 2009. Oh, yeah, it is 20. Oh, my gosh. Sorry. Today's the 19th. All those in favor of accepting the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, abstaining. 4, 5, 6, 7.
You want to do that?
If you weren't here at the last meeting, you have to abstain from this vote, right?
Correct.
So
Yes.
we're not here right now in the last meeting.
Lon, you
had
weren't?
here at January meeting. Lon?
Oh, that's correct.
Right. I'm like,
No,
so
he
yes,
was not.
Right, so he's abstaining. Okay, so yes.
6.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0, 1.
You've been busy. We're all busy.
You were at a budget hearing, actually, for Town Council that night, I remember.
A lot going on in January, absolutely. Okay, thank you very much. And we'll go to old business with Matthew, please.
All right, so we're going to start with the update on the beach project. I can't remember if I told you when I met with the state, was it before or after the January meeting? But basically, the state won't let us take those 2 big pine trees down, even though I've got roots going out 30 feet in both directions. So Dawn, the town engineer, has had to redesign the beach portion of the project, which she's almost done. She's hoping to have it done next week.
Excellent.
So I'll see it probably first week of March. And I'll be able to share that with you when we meet in March. We are still tentatively on task to get that still done in the spring before summer.
Thank you.
But more when more next month.
Great, thank you. Yeah, it's in this minutes from this
Okay.
last meeting, so
Couldn't remember.
that's okay.
And then on the storm damage, so we had the cabin that got hit by the tree in that ice storm in January. We finally got the report back from the insurance company, and they valued it pretty good.
Nice.
So we're waiting on contractors to come out and give us estimates for repair, depending on what those costs will dictate still whether we take the building down or fix it. Because again, this is one of the buildings that we were originally planning on taking down anyway. So is the insurance money enough to fix the original problem plus this new problem, or is it still worth it just to take it, and I don't know the answer to that yet, but that's where we are on that.
Perfect, thank you so much. And to my right, Miss Christine Lavoie.
Thank you, Laura. So our current balance for the dog park is $2,896.59. Portion of that will be going, of course, to spring mulch and possible projects. We are hoping to have a meeting in March. Gotten some interest going now that winter's kind of calming down and spring's trying to come.
You just jinxed us.
I know, I'm sorry, I couldn't.
No, it's gonna be plenty of
It-
sledding.
Exactly, plenty of sledding. Anyways, so we're looking forward to that. No new business at this point for the dog park.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Couple questions on the dog park, if I
Yes.
could.
Certainly, Shannon.
At our last meeting, you asked about dog-safe ice melt and bags. Have you gotten any, or are you still looking for donations?
So we have not had any dog safe salt donated or bags at this time. So, yes, I guess we're still looking for some for that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I think that's something that's always being needed, so I always forget to keep saying it, but yes, that is something. If anybody wants to check out what's going on, check out the Facebook page, Friends of the Merrimack Dog Park, and we also have a link off of the Parks and Rec website.
Great.
I
Thank
think
you.
that's
for
it. Thank you,
keeping up.
Shannon, for the reminder.
Okay, new business, and here we go.
Okay, back to me.
Everything is a project for
I
you.
know, it really is.
It
Well,
really is.
I'm gonna pass these down as I talk here. So we've been renting the function hall out for 3.5 years now, but the fees were set 4 years ago. And it took 6 months to go through the process of getting to that point. But we have gotten to the point where we are booked most every weekend, or a large number of weekends, for events, birthday parties, that kind of thing. We are basically the cheapest game in town for rentals. And one of the things that, as we're starting to get, busier and busier, is we need to kind of relook at our fees, and some of those things. So the sheet that I handed out here has just kind of the summary of the last year of rentals. So we had 30 rentals over the last year. Average in length was 4 hours long. 22 out of 30 of them were kind of family parties, a lot of birthday parties, that kind of thing. 25 out of 30 were residents. So not very many non-residents, average about 75 people. Half our rentals were kind of 3 hours. They booked the bare minimum, which was 3 hours. But a lot of them are leaving at 2, 2.25, 2.5 anyway, but we had a 3 hour minimum. So, they're leaving beforehand. So, and then, only half our participants currently pay the extra fee to rent the kitchen. And only out of those 30 events, only 4 of them had alcohol. And part of the issue there was, one, we make them get a bartender. The bartender has to provide their own insurance. Plus, with all of our rentals, both whether there's alcohol or not, they have to get a liability insurance. And when there's liquor, obviously that goes up, what they have to pay for that too. So that some people look at it and go, nah, it's not worth it, But we want to keep that. The liquor stuff has to stay in place. It really can't change if we want to keep offering it as an option. I tried to survey kind of all of the facilities within kind of a 10 or 15 mile radius of us for kind of function hall type facilities, and there's not really a lot. There are, of course, like the St. James Church and the Legion and VFW, which aren't necessarily again, a lot of these are kids' birthday parties, and those aren't necessarily kid birthday party locations. And so, but there's really no consistency among all of them. I think I had, 15 different venues within the region, and there's kind of no rhyme or reason of how people charge. Some are by the hour, some are by people, some are by the day, some are, have food requirements, And so we kind of just went with what we thought might work, but I wanted to kind of go through it tonight to kind of get your feedback to see if we, what people think about what we're thinking. Right now when we do a rental, so it's a 3 hour minimum, we give them an hour before that rental to set up, because they have to come in and set up their own tables and chairs, and then an hour on the other end to put everything away. And this started, when we first started renting the function hall, we didn't have staff for these events. And so when we set this up initially, it was like, okay, we don't want to take away from your party. So here's some extra time basically that we're not going to charge you for, to have that time to set up and decorate and, those kinds of things. I really dislike giving out a building to a key to a town building when there's nobody there. We've had to do it occasionally, but most rentals I try to get coverage for. So that becomes less of an issue. And I'll talk about more of that in a second. As I said, we've done a lot of rentals, most of them have been Merrimack residents. But one of the things, our charge from the town is we need to cover at a bare minimum the cost of heat and electricity on the building, which is about $8,000 a year, year round on that building. And that first year we did about $1,200. Year 2 it was $25. Year 3 we jumped to $6. Right now we should hit around $8,000 for this year in rentals. I've already got stuff for June rentals now, but we'll probably pick up a few more that'll get us just to that. So this will be the first year that we're kind of just hitting that minimum number. But obviously costs go up, and so we need to part of the looking at the fee is keeping up with that, and so making sure we're still continuing to do that. And obviously, future function hall improvements might be relying upon rental income too. So, so one of the things that I'm hoping to do this year, or start doing, is right now, like I said, it's a 3-hour minimum, but then we have if you want 4 hours or 5 hours or more, it's $25 for each additional hour. And the idea initially was trying to get them to book longer. But realistically, we lose money on those longer rentals. And one of the things I want to be able to do is be able to enable online registration of these rentals. Just cut out the paperwork and go digital. And the registration software I could use can't calculate the 3 hours plus the 1 hour, type of thing, and book it off in the calendar. So somebody could come in and book 9 to 12 plus the 1 extra hour so it should be 9 to 1, and somebody else could come in and book 12 to 4, and it won't detect that there's an error there. And so it won't detect the overlap. So I want to eliminate that as part of this. So right now it's $125 for a 3-hour block for residents, $300 for a 3-hour block for non-residents. And then, like I said, $25 for additional hours for both residents and non, and $50 as a flat rate for the kitchen. And the idea with charging for the kitchen is, this is they're cooking on the stove, so it's got to be cleaned before and after for them. It might be weeks might go by between usage, but I still got to go in and clean it, just because it's been sitting and dusty and whatever. But also they're using gas and with the propane on the building and those kinds of things. So, so as I said, in the fees right now, it's residents pay $125 for 3 hours, which basically boils down to $41.66 for an hour. But if they want, say, 4 hours, that drops to $37.50 for 4, $35 for 5, and so forth. So it kind of becomes less cost effective. And then again, the non-residents $300, and then $325, so it would go $81.25 for 4 hours, $70 for 5, so forth. We're not getting very non-residents, so I don't want to raise the fee too high, because I don't want to, those birthday parties in particular are been really good income for us, and they're short, easy rentals. Our biggest competitors for kind of that birthday party, family party type of thing, realistically, is the O'Leary Center. The churches and VFW and stuff to a lesser extent, but certainly O'Leary Center. And then, which charges, the O'Leary Center has a sliding scale based on the number of people, which I don't like. It's kind of like 1 to 49 people is this rate, 50 to 74 is this, but realistically nobody's there counting, so it's kind of honor system, and I don't like that, for me personally. The other competitor would be somebody like Altitude Trampoline Park as far as birthday parties are coming. We've got a playground next door, so we do get a lot of parties that start inside for cake and ice cream and then go outside, and, Nothing But Good Times would be another one, but those types of places are, so like Altitude, for example, and actually my daughter had her birthday party at Altitude this year. It was $250 for 10 people, for 10 kids, all the way up to $460 for 20 kids, so we're still far cheaper we're half the cost of what those other people are. So I think we're too cheap at this point, like I said, we want to go up a little bit, but not so high that we're scaring people away and that we're still below those other groups. So what I'm thinking at this point is Still keeping our 3-hour blocks for kind of nights and weekends, but as a simple flat rate, 3 hours. But if you want 4 hours, you got to book 6. So it's just 3-hour increments only, and not that additional fee for $25. But then with that, we will take on the setup and breakdown of the hall, and instead of giving them an hour before, hour after. And the way we do that, one, I have part-time year-round maintenance staff, so it's something that they can be doing while they're there anyway, which also makes sure that things get put away correctly, which they don't always do, and those kinds of things. But then it's just, here's your 3-hour rental, doors open at 1 o'clock and you're done at 4, and that's when we lock the doors, and that's, and then not 12 to 5 as it is now, So I want to go up, right now it's $125 for the 3 hours. I want to go to $175 is what I'm thinking. So it'd be a $50 increase. Again, still cheaper than pretty much anybody else over that. And then again, if they want more than 3 hours, it'd be an additional 3-hour block of time. For non-residents, right now we're at $300 for 3 hours. And we basically want to double it from the resident rate, so it'd go to $350. It's less of an increase on the non-residents, only because I think we were high on non-residents anyway. Again, we only had 4 in the last year. So we're not getting them anyway, so I don't want to go too high on that one. And then in terms of kind of room setup, what I would do is make a kind of a floor chart. So option A is classroom style floor. Option B is, facing each other. Option C is horseshoe, whatever it is, which I have not made yet. But it's basically, here's your, pick your date, you pick your time, pick your layout, and then they can pay it all online. Instead of right now, the other thing we haven't done, and one of the reasons to offer online registration is we haven't been. Right now, it's check or cash for payment. So the other reason to go up on the fee is if we're going to start taking all credit card fees, we got to account for that credit card fee. So the second thing we want to do, and I'll give you a chance to weigh in when I get through all these lists here, but the second thing we want to do is we're trying to see if we can't recruit kind of more business, kind of community organizations as a weekday thing. So we'd have a slightly cheaper rate, kind of Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. It's a 2-hour block instead of a 3. It's $100 instead of $175. And the idea, again, James and I are there, as well as my maintenance person, so we can set up and unlock the door and make sure it's clean and all that kind of thing. Anyway, and again, trying to just maybe it's an out of office networking meeting or that kind of thing. And then the other piece that we're looking at is we get 1 or 2 weddings a year so far. Not many, but we get a couple. And we'd like to promote that market because that's where you can obviously earn more money. And, I was talking to, there was a website called Wedding Wire that I was talking to last week. And they're asking me what our fees were. And they're like, the cheapest thing anywhere in your area is like $2,000. And, here we are at, $300 for a non-resident. It's like, okay, So the thought here is, in the few weddings we've gotten, a lot of times what we've had people do is they'll want Saturday night wedding is the common. But they'll want to come in on Friday night to decorate, which now blocks off Friday night. And we've done it. We've done it with, here's your 3-hour minimum and your $25 each additional hour. And yeah, it's $1,000 for that wedding. And that's okay, but I'm losing kind of an extra time block there. So we kind of want to go with that. And here's a wedding rate. Wedding rate is what did I say? Basically, we charge you for just under 4, it'd be 4 time blocks is what you're kind of taking up. If it's, if you figure 3 time blocks on a Saturday plus Friday night for setup, so kind of 4 time blocks, which would normally be $700. We're thinking $600 for residents. You come in on Friday night so you can decorate, get up the hall however you want it set up, and then come back and have the all-day Saturday to do what you need to do. And then $1,200 for non-residents, which again is a little bit more than what we've been charging now, but kind of a nice package deal and not something that a lot of wedding venues do, but a few do. Like, there's a city building in Nashua that does it. They gave me the idea. And it's just, here's a package rate, it's $1,400, you know, as a way to try and promote some of those types of things. And then, of course, from there, we own projectors, screens, sound systems. And so again, going after that kind of business market, you know, we could rent some of that equipment out because we own that stuff. It sits in a closet except for our special events ourselves. We can set it up ourselves because we're setting up the room anyway, you know. So those are my thoughts on this. You know, we hemmed and hawed about kind of, is 2 hours not enough? Is 4 hours too much? And, you know, like I said, do we just do half a day? You know, but again, a lot of those rentals are leaving under 3, but they're a little more than 2, so which is where we kind of ended up back at 3. But what do people think about kind of the fee structure that I've suggested here in general? Pricing, are we still too cheap? Are we too expensive? What are your thoughts? Oh, actually, before I answer, before that, we do have, I was going to mention this later in my notes anyway, but Rotary is going to be moving forward with painting. We're trying to schedule a
Oh,
date now.
Okay.
And then hopefully solve the acoustic problem, which is the other piece, after the
Right.
painting's
The
done,
ceiling.
which will also help with the marketability of the building.
Correct.
Shannon?
So I had a couple of questions.
Yes.
I think the structure makes complete sense. You know, you're talking about the, you know, what you're offering. I think it's in range. You know, when you're talking about some halls, you get into some swank, you get into some other halls, and they're, you know, you get into something that's not family friendly. So you're right, you're somewhere in the middle, and that's exactly where your fee should be.
Right.
But the questions I have are around the when, the how, as far as when would you want these rates to start? How would you manage the implementation of those rates, considering that you may have some reservations that were probably booked in the under the old rates, but if you're taking electronic payment, how would you manage those kind of adjustments? So those are just some quick thoughts I had as you were going through it all.
Logistics, yeah.
So one, I'm waiting for an answer whether the fees will have to go to the council or not. So that may or may not, when I talked to Paul McCallie, he's like, it depends on how much you're going up. Will dictate whether the council's gonna wanna decide or not, or whether Eileen will just decide. We're not going up a lot, but we are going to, so my guess is it's gonna go to the council. So first of all, nothing will happen until I can get on their agenda with that, or Eileen decides with that. Secondly, I mean, we do have rentals out till June. We actually had a wedding for October and they canceled on us, but that's okay. But, you know, obviously anybody that's already booked is gonna be under the old fee structure. And then, so implementation would be new rentals going forward. You know, maybe it's 30 days after, you know, the fees are set, or maybe it's just as soon as the fees are decided by the council or town manager, whoever. You know, I haven't quite answered that. Again, it's gonna be kind of their decision to tell me about what they're thinking. But again, the existing rentals would still pay what they had already reserved under.
And I think the other question I had is, would you look at doing, say, July 1st is the date, because that's when your fiscal year
Yeah,
starts?
fiscal year.
We could do that
That's a
too,
good
yeah.
idea.
Just a thought.
Thank you, Shannon. I just want to say, Matt, you always come through with all the data. I don't know anybody that does so much research, but it makes sense to me because we've been working off the old fee
Yeah.
schedule for many, many years.
Exactly.
When it was a sleepover camp.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing all this because it makes sense to me the way you've
And
presented this.
we're trying to get away from I mean, it's always been kind of a campy building.
Right,
And so
but you
part
wanna
of
step
with
it up.
Rotary comes in and paints, you know, we're looking at, you know, neutral colors, grays and blues or whites, or, you know, we're still picking the colors, but, Hillary
Do
Baird
you want
actually-
advice on that?
Actually, Hillary Baird, who was on the committee before, has a side gig as a designer,
Yeah.
and so she's giving us input on that. So we're working on that, but,
That's nice.
so
Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, thank you very much. That's exciting.
Other thoughts? People like the fee structure, how we've done it? Is there anything you might change?
What about renting food machines?
Food trucks?
No, popcorn machine, do you own any of that stuff, or?
Oh,
I don't
interesting.
have a popcorn machine. I do have snow cones. I do have hot
Oh,
dogs.
just for kids.
Well, I don't want to rent that
No,
stuff out. That's
okay,
just,
no, okay,
it's a
thank
pain
you.
to clean, so I don't want to get into that. But, and at least like the projector and stuff, we
Right.
would set it up because
Correct,
it'd be,
thank you.
rather than handing it off to,
Right. I was just thinking about different parties, but the kids bring, any birthday parties, they bring everything
the
anyway.
one thing that
They
I
can
may
even
try to
deliver
get down the
pizza.
road, well, the two things I might get down the road. Right now, we have all rectangular tables, and we could fit more
Few round
tables in the room
tables.
if we had rounds.
Yeah,
Um,
great idea.
Then I gotta find space to store said round tables, but, the second thing is, and I don't know if this is even feasible, because we have carpeting in there,
Yes.
is for the birthday parties, the weddings, if there's some sort of roll-out interlocking dance floor, and I have no idea what that would cost, but it's something on the back of my head for the wedding type event.
Oh, just
Or
do
some
a
sort of,
section,
even a non-slip event matter, some, you know.
like a laminate covered, yeah,
Something that
yeah, for
rolls out
dancing.
that I can store easily, you know.
I bet there's a thing.
There's gotta be something,
I'm
I
sure
just
there
haven't
is.
had a chance to look at, but
Yeah,
Right.
great
that's a
idea.
down the road idea.
Great
But,
Not the
idea.
Celtics parquet.
no, not unless it comes in like portable piles that I can pile in a corner, so, you know.
There's quite a bit of product stuff out there now, yeah. Well, good job, Matt, thank you so much. That's
Very-
exciting.
very
For the
thorough.
function hall, too.
Mm.
Are we all set to
Sorry,
move on
yeah, I
then,
was gonna
or?
say, do we?
Vote to
propose-
endorse?
Yeah, and then send to town council, do we need to do that?
Sure, why not?
No, I just,
I think it's a
I
good
wasn't
idea.
sure.
Well, because I'm not sure yet if it has to go to the council
Right,
Okay.
but we might
yet,
as well do
so
it.
I'm waiting for
which-
that answer. So I'll send it to Paul tomorrow, and then he'll decide if he wants it, if he thinks it should go to the council, or if Eileen will just
do
decide.
you want us to vote now?
But
That
sure,
way-
why don't we
Yeah.
vote anyway, so it's covered either way?
Okay,
Gotcha.
Okay.
so I'll take a motion to accept Matt reviews, I'm sorry, ideas about the function hall rental fees that we've had a discussion. He's done all his research, and do I have a motion?
Sure. I'll make the motion to accept
the-
the updated fees for the function rental hall.
Fees
second.
and,
Packages?
yeah, fees and, because you talked about just.
Oh, and the wedding packages,
Yep.
as spelled out in the document we received
The proposed
today.
fee set
Review of the
structure.
function hall rental fees, how's that?
And packages.
Because
And
right,
all
the
right.
projector.
Right, yeah. Okay.
So I have a motion by
Christine?
you,
Yep.
Christine.
I'll second
Christine,
it.
and a
Somebody
second by
second?
John,
And
John, perfect. Yep.
J-O-N.
J-O-N.
Sorry.
Get that,
Anyone want to
JOH
second
is
for
my
it? Are we
dad's.
voting on that?
Nope.
No, we haven't voted yet. Do I have all, and I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. 7. Still, 7? Perfect. Stop. Thank you, Matt. On to your next.
The next thing.
Do you need a water?
No, I'm good. I
Thank you.
actually, we got through that pretty quick. I thought that
You're
we.
doing fine, yeah.
James and I literally for 3 weeks now have been every day like half an hour every single day, kind of debating back and forth the merits and the fees and,
Well,
no,
it
that's too
shows.
much, that's too little, too, you know. So that was smoother than I expected.
Well, I just want to remind people that, James is fairly new to this game, and he jumped right in, and he's pretty amazing. So I'm glad that's working out.
Absolutely.
he's done
Let's
great.
hope we can keep him for a while.
Absolutely.
Although sorry, go ahead.
Can I just ask, in your initial presentation, you talked about meeting an $8,000 cost threshold.
Mhm.
And the new fee schedule is not an attempt to do anything more than make that reasonable, given what you anticipate are going to be
Yep.
increases in costs as well.
Yep.
I think that's important for people to understand.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It isn't, we're not gouging, we're just trying to stay even with the board and
The market.
the market, and I think that's an important point
Mhm.
in terms of there, a sense can be developed that the place is shabby or
Right.
under par or something, if the fee schedule was that much lower than
Right.
the market.
Right.
And Lon,
So-
to your point, I think that more use requires more maintenance, and again,
Right.
for what you're trying to
Exactly.
do with it, you're gonna need to keep it on par.
Absolutely. Another thought, Matt, is I wonder if you look at what you were able to rent it out for in last year, since that was the highest
Mhm.
each succeeding year. So how much you raised for money or earned or whatever,
Yep.
versus what your expected expenditures were for that year,
Mhm.
and then maybe take those bookings and then apply it to the current fee structure, and just see if you extrapolate it out and see how that works out for you. That might be a question that might come up if you do go to town council or the town manager. I don't know if that would be worth
Yep.
looking at it
Good
like
idea.
that.
Sean, this is it's a good thought.
I mean, I like it. I don't think we should go up too high, but I don't think we should stay too low that we're not covering the costs that
Right.
need to be
Well,
covered.
and it's also one of those, like, when I first got here in 2014, why 2014, anyway, you know, camp had an image problem.
Yeah.
You know, it was run down, they played video games all day, you know, that was the perception of Natticook when I got here.
Oh, wow.
And,
Oh, yeah.
and again, you had 7 condemned buildings on the property that were just shuttered and graffitied and whatever. And, you know, registration had taken a turn because they were doing video games and some of those other stuff, and we eliminated a lot of us, and it took us several years to kind of break out of that, you know. And so the function halls, in a sense, is kind of the same way. It's shabby, that's why it's so cheap, you know, and camp was kind of the same
But
thing.
it's not so shabby now.
But it's
and
not
you-
so
and
shabby
it's shown
anymore.
in the
We-
6 years that you have been here that
Right,
every step you've made is to improve
right,
the
so,
usability of the building, including the rug.
right.
That was a good thing to do.
Certainly helped with the acoustics, a little harder to maintain, but certainly helps with the acoustics,
Yeah.
but.
Do you anticipate some ceiling stuff too for acoustics, or?
Yeah,
is
the,
that
the
thought?
current plan, and I'll have it once,
Yeah,
once it's official from Rotary that they're ready to
Something.
go with that, they, is basically, when you walk into the room, there's 2 kind of large, triangle shapes on either end of the hall. Ceiling tiles, and it'd kind of be a series of panels going up each side of that.
Okay.
And then down, you know, and then on both walls, which in itself will solve it, but we may even do along this kind of side walls, side
Sure.
angles walls as well. And the more we do, the better it's gonna help with the acoustics.
Excellent.
Just to do the kind of the front and the back of the room it's about $3,600 for the
Oh,
materials.
wow.
Rotary was trying to see if they could get, the fire department to approve, you have to have
Oh,
kind of
and then
flame
there's
retardant
that.
materials.
Yeah.
Fire rated materials, and so they were trying to talk to fire whether they could use this product versus this one, which was
Correct.
cheaper,
Okay. Oh,
and,
sure.
so
Oh,
we're still
that's
working through all that,
Great,
but,
thank you.
but I'll have something with that official once that gets done, but we're getting enough painting done at least.
No. Oh, no, it's wonderful. No, it's great, thank you.
All right, on to the next thing.
On to summer camp.
Well, not quite camp yet. First, the ice skating rink.
Oh,
So
sorry,
the
I
ice
missed it.
skating rink,
Right there.
for those who may be listening attentively at home, the ice rink is still closed, unfortunately. We had, what was that, 60 degrees 2 weeks ago? And even with the cold temperatures Thursday and Friday last week and Saturday, it's still, we lost most of the ice, so it has to start over and freeze up again. I looked at it this afternoon, and it's getting there, so hopefully tomorrow or Friday it'll reopen for the weekend. But we're still closed at the moment, so we ask people to stay off it. Can't do much with nature. It's one of those years. But we do post that, the forum and our page and the town's page, website when that information's out there, when we have an update. Camp registration is, we've been open for 5 weeks now. We've already gotten, as of yesterday, 566 registrations, which is
Wow.
more than 250 registrations higher than what we had a year ago at this point. We're 60% of the total number we had for all of last summer already. So we're
that's awesome.
almost 2/3 of our total for last summer. And one of the things, I mean, part of it was, there was almost a fear factor. Last year, we sold out 8 out of 9 weeks, and so people started getting shut out of sessions, so this year they started registering quickly. And
Right.
we like that, because going back, 5, 6 years ago, people would wait till Friday afternoon to register for Monday, and it left us scrambling to try and update the lists and rosters, and so it's a nice problem to have. We are still one of, probably, we might still be the cheapest camp in the area. We're certainly on the lower end, and we did that deliberately. We did a $15 increase last year, and so I didn't want to do another $10 or $15 this year, because it was just too much. And again, we serve working families, and that's what we get, so we want to, stay affordable as much as possible.
Plus the hot lunch.
Plus, we provide lunch, which most other day camps don't do. And now, I think we talked last time about the minimum wage bills that went through.
Yeah, what?
So it passed the House. I'm not sure if it passed the Senate or not. Even if it does, the governor's not going to sign it. If it had, obviously, we've already opened camp registration, so I can't change the fee, but it would have been about a $10,000 hit on camp this year if we had to go up this year on, if we had to raise rates on, 60 days notice. So we'll see what happens next November, if, control of House and Senate and Governor's office next year, because that could change. And if the minimum wage bill comes back next year, it'll, and and it passes, then obviously it'll be something probably resembling what was proposed this year. So next year, we'll probably have a big jump to deal with whatever the minimum wages increase is. My initial calculations, if it went through this year, my initial calculations for next year would have been $40 a week raise just to cover the salary increases.
Oh,
And then
wow.
about $15 per week for each additional year after that. And that's just on salaries, never mind,
Yeah.
other things going up because
The
cost of
insurance.
goods are,
Right.
So we're trying to keep affordable, and, so far, like I said, we are one of the lower cost camps, and, we do that on purpose, to be affordable. So, again, which also helps. I'd rather have a full camp than half full, because we're charging too much, With that said, we are recruiting for summer staff. I will pass out to you here, this is a draft of my employment flyer that I just finished about a half an hour before the meeting. Because I have 3 camp fairs coming up in March that I'll be staffing, so
Oh.
I need
saw
to,
that in the newspaper.
which
Did
one?
you?
I thought it was,
So there's 3 that we're doing. We're doing the Kids Fest, which is go over at the Nashua Y on March 7th. We'll be at the Parenting New Hampshire Camp Fair on March 14th, and the other Parenting New Hampshire Fair in Manchester on March 21st. So
So
I've got
there's
3
3.
weekends in a row, which is more camper recruitment, but it'll also be, to a lesser extent, job recruitment.
Right.
So we're promoting jobs, but we are looking for
Wow.
counselors, junior counselors. We need one more special needs one-on-one aide. Where I really need is my specialist this year: nature, arts and crafts, drama, performing arts, sports, archery. I'm mostly good on lifeguards, but I can always use 1 or 2 more. I'm mostly good on WSI's swim instructors, but could always use 1 more in case somebody backs out. I do need somebody in the kitchen, a kitchen assistant. And then we're trying to bring back, we haven't been able to get a tennis instructor for a couple of years now. So we are looking for somebody that'd be more part-time, afternoon, evening hours kind of thing. It wouldn't be an 8-hour day. Although if they worked at camp in the afternoon, I could probably have public lessons at night, maybe to make it full-time, But, so those are the things we're looking for at the moment. Counselors, I'm not super worried about. They always tend to come in. It's the specialists mostly. We have raised our pay rates on kind of all the specialist positions, the activity specialists, but also the one-on-one aides. We've raised pay on lifeguards and swim instructors. We've raised pay on the kitchen assistant, because those are the ones we struggle with the most. So hopefully it'll come in. Last year I didn't finish until July 7th, I think, and we opened June 22nd, so we're hoping not to do that again this year. We had to turn people away at camp last year because I couldn't get the staff to work. So again, hoping not to have to do that this year.
Well, this is a beautiful flyer, Matt. You do a
Thank
good
you.
job on those.
So past events, third annual murder mystery was a week and a half ago on the 8th. We ended up with 73 participants this year, so it generated about $1,000 for us, which was a nice event. It was a little smaller. We had 83 last year, but we actually earned a little bit more money because some of the stuff that we bought last year we still had, so we didn't have to buy it. And you
Oh,
know,
good.
it was the third year, and while the event went well, I don't think I'm going to do it next year.
It's a lot of work.
I think I needs to change it to something different.
Okay.
I'm not sure what that's gonna be. Next year, Valentine's Day falls on Sunday, so I kinda wanna do something for Valentine's Day, but again, I don't know what yet. So and again, for adults. I'm not sure yet, but, so went pretty well overall.
Yeah,
Um,
good. Excellent.
Coming up, this Saturday is Winter Carnival.
Woo-hoo.
It is 12 to 3 at Wasserman Park. We have 27 groups providing games, activities, crafts, face painting. There's food, a little bit of everything. It's a lot of kind of business and community organizations, as we always get. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do the Lions Club ice fishing derby because the ice just isn't thick enough. It was, when I looked yesterday, it was about 2.5 inches, and obviously isn't safe enough for people to be on the ice. So that unfortunately won't happen this year. We also don't have any sledding because I looked this afternoon
Oh,
and
that
all of
was
it
my
melted
next
off the snow,
question.
off the hill is gone as of this afternoon.
Oh,
So,
yeah, the sun.
but we have 27 activities still going on, so hopefully
yeah,
people will
oh,
come
yeah.
down and have some fun for a free event. We did end up hiring a police detail to help with us with parking, to address some of the issues we had with the Halloween event. And we also have 4 or 5 police department volunteers helping us as well. We'll see how that goes. It's what I could get. And I didn't have the budget to hire more officers to do paid details because, it is what it is. So should work out. It certainly will be
should
better
work.
than the one I had for Halloween.
Well, it's also during the day,
It's also during the day.
The evening was
Evening's a little
dark.
tougher.
dark.
And the weather for Saturday is?
Saturday looks good. It's going to
Looks
be
good, yeah.
kind of like today. It's going to be low 40s and sunny. So should be a good day out there. So come on down.
Okay.
If anybody from the committee is interested in helping us, staff the table, just frees James and I up to kind of run around and do what we do. That would be helpful. And yeah, so that is it for Winter Carnival.
Perfect. Good job.
The next event after that, we actually are running school vacation week next week. We have 46 kids registered between 2 different programs that we're running. We were trying to do a week of kind of in-house at Wasserman Park, kind of summer camp-esque type programs, kind of sports, games, arts and crafts, kind of as we've traditionally done the last 3 or 4 years. And we have, good numbers there. We were trying to do a series of kind of day-long field trips, as we kind of also like we do in the summer. So Monday we go here, Tuesday we go here, Wednesday,
Right.
Monday was the only day, unfortunately, that got enough people to run, so Monday's the only one where we have kind of off-site field trips running as well. But a total of 46 registrations over the course of the week. We have a handful of spots for Wednesday and Thursday, I think, but we're fuller than
great.
we usually are,
That's
so
great.
it's a good, good spot to be in. I'm not sure yet what we're going to do for April. I'm struggling for staffing, particularly staff to lead said thing, and because frankly, I don't want to do it personally myself. And James and I are both kind of too busy to lead it ourselves. So we're trying to either get one of our summer staff to be able to come back on payroll and do it, or we might contract it out to somebody else. But if we have to contract it out, it'll be more expensive, but we'll see.
Perfect. Good.
The Easter egg hunt is going to be Saturday, April 4th this year. At least we're in April, so hopefully we won't have snow on the ground this year. But we probably will, knowing we've had that problem before. So we'll see what happens this year. But just put it in on your calendar for future reference. We talked about Rotary painting the hall, and we're working on trying to schedule a date with that. And then lastly, I will be on vacation next week. I'm overdue because I kind of lost my last one in September. And I'm actually maxed out on vacation time, so I have to take it, or I lose it. And so
Can't
it'll
do
probably
that.
be my last time to take any days off before summer anyway, so. James gets to deal with vacation week by himself.
He'll do fine.
He'll be fine. And that's all I got.
That's very well done. Thank you, Matt. Yeah.
What was the status on the lights at the edge tank? Was that completed?
The bases are in, we're still waiting for the company to manufacture and ship the towers, the light posts, and I do not have an install date as of yet. Last I heard was late February, but who knows? They keep changing it, so, it'll be in time for spring volleyball.
Perfect. Any other questions or comments for the director? All right, well, Maureen didn't make it this evening, so we'll skip over right to Miss Abby. Hi, Abby, how are you tonight?
I'm good.
Good, thank you for coming.
Thank you. Winter break starts next week. We have the full week off. We're all very excited. In terms of news, Mr. MHS has been rescheduled till March 17th. It will be at 6 p.m. and the tickets are $10, and it's essentially a pageant but for guys. We have I think a dozen or so really nice guys. It's a competition. It's going to be great, and it was rescheduled due to weather reasons.
And
There's
what's the name of it again?
Mr. MHS.
Nice.
And from what I've heard, it's a great time.
Oh, good. Is that a new thing, or?
They've been doing it for a while, I'm pretty sure.
I think it's a SAD group that does it.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty fun.
And then we have a hypnotist show tomorrow. Tickets are $10, and I believe teachers are getting hypnotized. So we're very excited
2 days
for
before
that.
vacation.
Yeah. Perfect. And that's about it.
Thank you very much.
Nice job.
Perfect. And Mr. John, you're.
All right.
Anything to
Where do
make?
I start? So, soccer has been doing winter training. They're in their 5th week out of 8. Travel registration has closed. There's 184 registered. There might be a few stragglers, but it equals out to about 15 teams.
Wow.
Spring sign-up started actually today, and they're estimating about 500 kids for spring for recreation spring.
Wow.
Wrestling had their tournament. About 400 kids showed up.
Oh, my goodness.
Their season ends in mid-March.
Mm-hmm.
Football, their registration signups will be in April, and they will be attending the Winter Carnival. I believe they have a table set up for that.
Good.
Lacrosse, their registration closed January 31st with 157 registered. Again, probably a couple stragglers. Equals out to about 78 boys, 79 girls.
Oh, wow.
Softball, their registration will end in March. They have so far have 43 registered.
Good.
Baseball, theirs registration will close in April. So far, they have about 130 registered, estimated about 300. And with their winter clinic going on right now, they have about 60 kids.
Okay.
At our meeting last week, it was brought up by the directors that, actually it's more of a question. Is there any way, so with all the email blasts that Parks and Rec sends out, is there any way to kind of incorporate registration for sports in those
In terms
email
of
blasts?
promoting?
Yeah, so if like,
Yeah.
if lacrosse has their registration going on, is there a way to send that out saying, their registration will be this time to this time? We do have the board outside the MYA building. A lot of the times it's not even noticeable. People don't even know it's there. And it's kind of a go back and forth. We try and share the sides because one is more visible with traffic than others. Or even like adding it to the Parks and Rec website.
Yep.
If we can have like a link for sports registrations that are either currently going on or, announcements. If there's a way we can kind of work that out.
Yeah. I mean, right now, we have just a general link to the MYA, but we can certainly expand upon that, and yeah, I think we can do that.
And actually to bring this up too, MYA has a new website.
Okay.
It is now merrimackyouthassociation.com. And that is up and running as of, I believe, like a week or two ago.
Great. The full association word?
Yeah, it's full merrimackyouthassociation.com.
Okay, thank you.
I think it used to be merrimackYouth.org.
.org, I think.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
so that has been updated.
Mhm.
And that's all I have for today.
Well, thank you for coming, yeah.
Thank you.
Any
Thank you,
questions for John, or? Okay, thank you.
Excellent.
And Mrs. Barnes?
So, a
Time.
couple of items of note. So the school board finalized the survey for parents for the school calendar for next year. We try to take a survey of basically what parents are looking for from the school calendar to, have that, life school balance with their families. Kind of an interesting thing coming up for 2020, 2021. And that is that the first day of school has traditionally been the day after Labor Day, and that is the New Hampshire primary
Oh, it
election
is.
day.
Yes, it is.
So we will be moving that to as late as Wednesday the 9th. The other option, I think that we was considered would be moving it to the Monday before Labor Day, being September 1st, because it's a late year for Labor Day as well. So, but look for the survey, give your feedback. We usually get about 800 to 1,300 responses from families, and that helps us to drive good data to make critical decisions. So that's always been really appreciated since we started doing the survey about 7, 8 years ago.
How is that dispersed? Is that
It's,
emailed?
thank you
Is
for
it-
asking, John. It's dispersed via the Power School system, so look for it in your Power School communications. And thank you for that, John. So that's a big one. Deliberative session is Tuesday the 3rd at 7 p.m. in the James Master Call Upper Elementary School All-Purpose Room, which is one of our voting sites as well. But that will be for the school district, and the snow date is Thursday the 5th. And I'm hoping we don't need one, but we've had years that we did. And then I did have a question, actually, that a couple of weeks ago you mentioned the tennis court work that's going to be done could be done in the spring.
At this point, it looks like the council's moved it back into next fiscal year, so it'll be probably the fall.
Okay, because I was asking, because the tennis teams, they'll start training very soon, but their matches start as early as April 15th and end as late as May 15th, not considering playoffs. So I
Right.
didn't know if that would actually be impacted by your work.
Right, well, at this point, it's gonna be
Okay.
a moot point.
So is it gonna be in the budget then again, or is it still gonna be
It
with
looks,
surplus funds?
as of right now, it looks like it's gonna be in the budget,
Okay,
so,
okay. So that's changed since your last report, so,
yeah.
excellent. Wanted to make sure that school sports were
Yep,
thought about. So there you go, those are my
Great.
reports and
Thank you
questions.
very much.
Thanks.
and actually, I have a question, well, not a question, but Shannon, if you wanna send me that survey, we can send it out to our channels when it comes out if you want, because I'm obviously not in Power School.
Not yet.
But I mean, when it
Sure.
comes out, if you want
Yeah.
us to help us promote that, we can do that.
That'd be, even if you could, what we're looking to do is make sure that they're registered parents.
Oh, okay.
So that's why we've been doing it through Power School Portal, but you're right, if you have incoming kindergartners, they would be ones that we would not necessarily, so I would say to reach out to the school to,
Okay.
to get that,
Mhm.
that feedback.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, and Mr. Woods, good evening, nice to see you.
Thank you. School board,
School board rep.
sorry, Shannon.
Town council.
Town council's back to a regular 2-week meeting schedule, the second and fourth Thursday. And I believe the deliberative session for the town is scheduled for March 11. And perhaps a snow date the next evening if needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Lon. Okay. Thank you very much. Seeing there's no public, any comments from the committee or ideas looking ahead at the agenda, at the schedule for the rest of the year? I realize March meeting, which is,
18th.
I will be here.
I won't.
And we appreciate that. Who will miss you?
I won't, but I'm looking for the alternate already to cover, so,
Thank you very much.
absolutely.
It was a week off, sorry. All right, well, I'm looking forward to Saturday, and are your ice sculptors gonna be there? Of course.
Ice sculptors will be there as usual.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Unfortunately, no snow cars this year.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be enough snow anyway,
not
but they
enough
weren't able to
anyway.
come anyway, but we
How
would have had to
about-
cancel on them
How
because
about
of,
Eastern Mountain Sports?
EMS will still be there with
That
the,
might be the big deal this year.
we'll see how much
Snowshoeing.
snow melts in the next 2 days, but tentatively, they're gonna be here.
Yeah.
Well, maybe somebody has a snow machine they can send over the night before and at
We'll
least
blow the
get
sn-
some
we'll do the snow
snow on the
bombings.
hill so we can do a little sledding.
It's mudslides.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn if,
Yeah, I think Michelle's
I
got
think
you
we're ready.
covered
Second.
behind you. Second? Who's second, John? All right. Michelle, you just keep notes, please. Thank you
You're
very
awesome.
much. You do a good job.
I actually like seeing it.
All right, I have the motion to adjourn. All those in favor at 7:56. Thank you very much, friends.
Excellent.
Matt, you